would like to thank the following: Michael Kauba Styling, CINE U and partnership of Ali Cat. CINE U would like to thank the following: Michael Kauba Styling, CINE U and partnership of Ali Cat Studio. Cine-mates, Binisaya, Junior Broadcast Alliance, CINE U, Anina, Communicators Club, and Cebu STV. CINE U would like to thank the following:
Go.
Hello, good afternoon, our dear Cine-mates. While waiting for others to join our live event for this afternoon, please enjoy this performance prepared for you all. Thank you.
Go.
Hello, good afternoon, our dear Cine-mates. While waiting for others to join our live event for this afternoon, please enjoy this performance prepared for you all. Thank you.
Wait sa Go. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon, our
I must have sent 400 poems on the way you used to smile at me. I used to write them for you daily, but my thumbs are running dry. No one wants to hear a song about the girl that broke my heart. I should have listened to my mama, she saw through you from the start. And now we're here in Regent's Park amongst the flowers, and I wish it would rain, 'cause in the sun you look so lovely that I'm falling for you over again. Since I have nothing left to say that will make you change your mind, I'll say goodbye on a beautiful spring day. There was a place not too dissimilar to this one where I first saw your face. You looked like home, sat all alone. I should have found somebody cheaper to chase. Tragically, nobody told me how expensive you would be. I lost more than money, dear. You knocked the swagger out of me. But now we're here in Regent's Park amongst the flowers, and I wish it would rain, 'cause in the sun you look so lovely that I'm falling for you over again. Since I have nothing left to say that will make you change your mind, make you change your mind, I'll say goodbye on a beautiful spring day.
fought to the other side, knowing this was our salvation. Jesus, for our sake you died. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings.
Normal University, we hail your name with pride. To you we give our loyalty, your light to be our guide. Cebu Normal University, we hail your name with pride. To you we give our loyalty, your light will be our guide. Your nurtured dreams of crimson and gold, through generations we will uphold your might and fame. Throughout the reign, all CNU of thee we sing. In glory, in adversity, with vision we move on. Cebu Normal, beloved University, Maranatha, carry on.
Lahit ng panahon karon, kalibutan ng kahimtang, sakit ang nakatayo.
Nagkalisod nga edukasyon, may mga planong wa madayon, daghang uhaw sa impormasyon.
Laban lang sa kalistanan na sinati, di ta mo undan sa pagkumbate, sa pagsibya, sa pagsulat, balita, pagpadaya.
Sa mga nasinati, sa katiling banok sa katawhan, dili pwedeng mo undan.
Karong panahon nga magtimbayayo, mangutla na to atong paglao. Kining tanan maagian, maong kumbate lang.
Karaali pagasturyahan ang mga butang nga nabuhat nato sa kagahapon ug karon niining kahimtangan kalisdanan. Nagiatubang sa tanan ug ang pag-atol sa kadaghanan, mahadok mo lakaw sa kadalanan. Hangtod kanus ang mahuman na mahimutang na ang tanan, mata sa imong pagtiyong ali ali atong solusyonan. Ali ali atong solusyonan.
I believe sa ayaw pagatubili, kagawasan sa mapahayag, at tinuran ay napahandi.
Sa pagtumbag inili magpaipi, kung kitang tanan lang modalit, sa tumang kusog nga syagit, pagkangon kining kangit-ngit. Wala imposible kung kita mo pa ambit.
Sa hugot nga kubog,
Sa tuong mga kamot,
Bisan unsa atong makabot,
tara kong bati, sa pagsibya, sa pagsulat, pagbalita, pagpadaya.
sa mga nasinati, sa katiling manok sa katawhan, dili pwedeng mo undan.
Karong panahon nga magtimbayayo, maubutan na to atong paglao. Kining tananing maagian, maong kumbatilan.
Kaya ang nato ni, padayon lang sa pagsulat, pagpadayag, kini para sa tong katawhan. Oo, sa atong katawhan. Para sa mga katawhan. Sa mga
Hello, good afternoon, Cine-mates. Hello. Hi, welcome back to our part two of for today's event on our day two webinar series of Cine U. So later, I will be joined by our dearest co-host, Ati Trish. So for the meantime, let's just sit back and relax and let's just enjoy the show for this afternoon's event. All right. So again, Cinemates, I want to hear your screams, your shouts, and everything that you wanted to share to our live event for this afternoon on our comment section in our YouTube channel. Please do have your shout outs kay ato ginang basahon tagsa-tagsa. Okay? And also, dear Cinemates, please also do not forget that we have prepared games for you, and you can check it on our Facebook page at Cine U. So yesterday we had our first game, which is the meme game, in which you are going to post your best meme in line with the quote or the line that was presented yesterday. And for this afternoon's game, in our day two webinar game, we have the guest that Netflix movie and series. Hello, Ate Trish. Welcome back.
Hi, Kuya Lau. I'm so sorry for the delay because of some technical problems.
Yes.
And once again, hi everyone to our dearest viewers. It's your one and only Chinita host, made with sugar, spice, and everything nice. I'm Trisha Dominic Verdosa from BACOM Film Media 2.
Yes. Hello, Ate Trish. How was your lunch, Ate?
Busog kuya, grabe. And I'm more than energized to get over with this afternoon. So how about for our cinemates? Comment down.
Yes.
See
Comment
if you're
down.
busog.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So let me just read some shout outs over here at Tino. So we have here from Miss Jenny May Pitor. She says here, let's go, Cinemates.
Wow, klaro kay busog, no?
How about yours there, Ate Trish? Unsa man
From
imong
my
nakita karon dira?
end, they said go, 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 and with a clap. Grabe.
Yes. And dear Cinemates, please do not forget also to use our official hashtag for this webinar series. That's CineU with you and the real behind the reel and the hows and whys of basic film making. Yes.
And also hashtag filmmaking production.
Yes. Okay. So I think at Trish, yes, we are once again greeted with and heated with some responses from our viewers, live viewers. We have 63 live viewers on our YouTube channel. Keep it coming, guys. Go, go, go. Share.
Wow.
Share,
And I agree
everyone.
with that, Kuya Lau. I hope that our dearest viewers would keep up that energy and enthusiasm throughout the webinar, especially during the Q&A segment, because we have another promising guest speaker for this afternoon.
Yes, indeed, Ate Trish. I think our speaker for today will really share one of her experiences and, of course, her journey in film production. And I'm really excited with that. And this is again the second part of our CineU webinar series. And for this afternoon, we are going to have another topic today. And of course, I would also like to shout out again, nagbaha direto mga shout out, no? So we also have shout out from the BRS. I think this is the Bugor Redeemer Society on our YouTube channel. Hello to you guys.
Hi! Klaro kay
Hello.
no, busog.
Yes, Ate Trish. I think Ate Trish, this morning we got to learn about documentary filmmaking process with Sir Brian Brazil. And I can't wait to know what kind of talk and insights are waiting for us this afternoon.
That's
Yes.
right, Kuya Lau, and I also can't wait to see what kind of questions and thoughts that our live viewers will be sharing later in the comment section. Diba, viewers? So, Cinemates, stop, drop, and roll. Ow, charot. Sayawa. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the webinar.
Yes. So, Cinemates, without further ado, I would like to formally introduce our speaker for this afternoon. Ate Trish, are you ready?
Yes, Kuya. Let's go
Okay.
and meet her.
Yes. And to our live viewers, please drop your I am ready on our comment section for you to acknowledge this event of ours. Okay. So, Ati Trish, here we go. She is going to talk about the phases of film production. She is a producer, writer, and production manager for Eight Thumbs Production Incorporated. This person has been producing video, commercials, AVPs, films, short films, and music videos for many years now. Furthermore, she is a member of the Kila Philippine Collective for Modern Heroism and the Active Vista Film Festival, where she advocates for human rights. Currently, she teaches film and video production, digital post production, sound and audio recording, and many other disciplines in the Bachelor of Multimedia Arts program in the Cebu Institute of Technology University. Cinemates, everyone, our live viewers, please help me welcome as we gaze in the stars for Mrs. Daniel Abalia de los Reyes. Let's give her our virtual round of applause.
And may we also ask Mrs. Daniel to open her webcam? Oh, there you are, Mrs. Daniel. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Hello. Okay. Hi. I think they did the introduction for me already. I'm sorry, Lawrence and Trisha.
Yes, Mrs. Daniel.
Okay. So I am a producer. I produce mostly AVPs and videos for local companies, and we also get clients from the national. We get national clients from time to time. So our company is called Eight Thumbs, and it has been around for. Mm, they've been doing production for almost 15 years, but for me, I only joined Eight Thumbs in the year 2014. So that's more than 5 years, maybe 6 going 7 years. So I've been producing videos for them for that long. But the people who are in Eight Thumbs are my friends. We were classmates in college. So that's the background of our company. And I can't really remember the year, but I think it was 2019 that I also gave a talk in CNU, sa Cine U gihapon. And my talk was about advocacy filmmaking. So 2019. Okay. So yes. So that's I think that's all about me. Basically, everything I learned about filmmaking, I learned through experience. I would say I never really went to school or went to like filmmaking school, But I guess all of my past experiences before I started producing, I was able to apply it to my producing job because I graduated advertising, and I worked before I went into video production. I worked as a marketing officer in one of the corporations here in Cebu. So basically, all of the project management stuff that I learned in that job, I was able to apply to my job as a producer. But I'm also a graduate of advertising, so fine arts. So I guess being in the creative industry or being in the creative field is always will always be part of me. So it's not a surprise that I got into this kind of profession, and so far I'm really enjoying it, and I feel very passionate about what we do. Okay, so this afternoon, I would like to talk to you about the phases of filmmaking, film production. Um, this might be a little bit too heavy on the information, but I hope we'll be able to fit everything within 1 hour. Okay, so I'd like to share my slides. No, I prepared slides for you guys. Hold on. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes, you can
Can
see it, Ra.
Okay, so I won't play the presentation because there's something wrong with my keynote for some reason. I don't know. So wait. Okay, so let's start. So before we dive into the different phases of film production, let me tell you a little bit about cinema. So when I teach in CITU, especially when I teach film production, I like to how do you call this one? I like to call my I like to call my topics, as I like to refer to the parts in filmmaking as how they're supposed to work, no. I'd like to start with cinema as a message. So what is cinema? So cinema is from the French word cinema, which is short for cinematography. Now, the word cinematography is borrowed from the ancient Greek word kinema and the word graphene. Now, if you put that together, it brings us the word cinematography. So cinema, in other words, means to record movement, from the word kinema and to write or to record. So cinema or motion picture is the art of moving images. So it's a medium that enables someone to tell stories visually. With films, we are able to communicate our stories and our messages in a more complete and compelling manner, since films stimulate two out of our five senses. So it stimulates our auditory sense, and it stimulates also our visual sense. And I really believe that it's 50-50 when it comes to cinema. That's why we call it audiovisual. The audio has to be balanced with your visual. Now, nowadays, in the modern times, we've heard of 4D cinemas. So it's not only our auditory and visual sense that's being stimulated. We even have things no, that stimulate our other senses, like our sense of touch. Um, we come to a 4D theater and we see bubbles coming out of the screen, like real bubbles, or we get sprayed with real water. So there are those things now in cinema. But essentially, cinema is audiovisual. So we all see stories come to life through films. But are you aware of the amount of work needed to take a film from script to screen? So um, let's say you have a solid script and you found yourself a production outfit that will, or a group that will fund your film. So where do you begin? That brings us to the beginning of our film process. No? So our film process can be divided into three key stages. We have pre-production, and then we have production, and then we have post-production. Now, what are these stages and what exactly happens during these stages? So let's start with pre-production. So for pre-production, the creation of film doesn't start on the first day of shooting. Sometimes it takes like days, weeks, months, years, and even decades. No, um, that amount of time has already passed before a film gets to day one of shooting. And that means that the groundwork for the film has been brewing and marinating for that period of time. So just like cooking, the preparation of the ingredients is a very important part of the process. So without it, you'll never know what will go into the pan. So you need to prepare everything that you will need before you can start cooking. So that is what happens in pre-production. So in pre-production, you start with a screenplay. So before you start working on pre-production, it is best that you already have a script, no, or a screenplay. So firstly, what you need to do is you need to turn that screenplay into a shooting script. So once you get a go signal for your screenplay, you convert that screenplay into a shooting script. So this means that before you can start pre-production, your script has to be ready, more or less. So here in my slide on the left side, you can see an example of a part of a screenplay. And here on the right side, you can see a sample of a shooting script. Now, these two examples are not related or connected to each other, but basically, a shooting script, the one on the right side, is something that has more information for the director, the cinematographer, the actors, and other crew members. And it will help them know what they need to do when they're shooting. So, whereas in the screenplay here is basically it contains the dialogue, it has the directions also, but it's not detailed for the crew members in the way that a shooting script is. So if you look at the shooting script, you can see columns with shot numbers, and then you have your action here. You have the action is written, and then you can even have like the time, like how long will this shot be, and then you also have like details of your audio. So this can be the dialogue. It's placed here. So people who are working on set or who will be shooting the film will know all of these details, and they will be able to see it in a more organized manner compared to when you are on set and when you are shooting and you have to refer to something that looks like a screenplay. It would be very hard for you to really, zone in on the things that you need to focus on. So that is your screenplay. So screenplay to shooting script. Now I have another example. So um, early this year, in 2021, actually we started in 2020. We were supposed to shoot an international film, um, and I was hired as the producer for the production design department. So 8 thumbs for production design. Now, I just would like to show you, because was also the first time that I've encountered what they call a strip schedule. So the one on the left side is what they call a strip schedule. So I want you to focus on the lower part here. This is, so you have the scene numbers here on the left side. You have the details of the shot here and the time of day. So basically what they did with the strip schedule is that they placed all of the scenes that um, we will be shooting on a certain day. So just for reference lang, so here there's a number 11, so this is scene 11, and here on the right side you can see the scene 11 from the screenplay. So the screenplay has the dialogues here, but for the strip schedule you only have the things that like the production design department or the lighting department would need to focus on. So we have the exterior shot here. I mean the details, no, if it's interior or exterior shot. Then you have the location, or this is what do you call this one? Film location details. So this is Tacloban Street. We were not gonna shoot in Tacloban, but the scene that we were gonna shoot is supposed to happen in Tacloban. So you have that detail, and then you have the time of day. So it's a day shoot. So it's an exterior shot, Tacloban Street, and then day. But we didn't make this. We were just given this. So probably there were changes somehow along the way. But anyway, the purpose of a strip schedule helps the production design team, wherein that's the team that we are part of for that production. We will know the sequence of what we need to shoot for that day. So Tacloban Street, and San Jose House. So all of these things happen within the same vicinity. So that's why they lumped it here. So everything is exterior. And this strip schedule enables us to prepare ahead of time now. So we know that first they will be shooting scene 11, and then next they will shoot scene 12. And so we have to prepare scene 12 ahead of time. While they're shooting scene 11 or even before scene 11. So we know that by Tuesday, we have to be ready with everything needed for scenes 11, 12, 53, 18, and 19, because that is what the strip schedule tells us. So those are the documents that you need to prepare during the pre-production period, no, or the pre-production phase. There are many other ways or many other documents that you can create to prepare for a shoot, but these are just the examples that I have. Okay, so now that you have your screenplay and you've already converted it to a shooting script, you can now move on to the next phase, Or I think this phase, you can even do this ahead of time. It's You need to make your storyboards and your shot lists. So a lot of the things in pre-production can happen simultaneously, since different people can do these things. So it can be that, right after the screenplay is approved, um, you can immediately forward your screenplay to a storyboard artist so that they can create a storyboard for your script. So storyboards are a visual representation of a screenplay, and a shot list would break down all of the frames that you need to shoot, all of the scenes that you need to shoot on a shooting day. So it's very important to have a shot list so that you will be sure that you will not miss anything. And most of the time, your shot list will be based on your storyboard. So, storyboards are visual representations of your script or your screenplay. Because if you go back to your screenplay, puro naman to siya words, right? So you want to translate that visually. And it would already include the kind of shot that you will take, whether it will be a close-up or a wide shot, etc., etc. So sometimes for us in video production, um, because a lot of times I write our scripts. So first thing that I would do is write the script, and then I would sometimes I would only like write the visuals, no, not really like look for visuals for the storyboard. I will just describe the visuals that I'm imagining for that specific scene. And then when I give it to the director can create his own director's board based on the script that I made. So then we will use the director's board, which is like a storyboard, but it's, it already contains the director's vision. That's why we call it the director's board. So we use the director's board as the storyboard for the script. Okay, so next thing, and I think this is really very important, make your film budget. So create a film budget based on the funding you have acquired for your film. And you have to make sure that you stick to that budget. And it's very hard to stick to a certain budget. So you need to make sure that throughout the whole process of filmmaking, you're able to stick to that budget. Otherwise, you will encounter financial problems. So for a small size team, the budgeting will be taken care of by the producer. So for our team, I do the budgeting. So I also make the quotations for the clients. And once the quotations would get approved, I would, the budget actually, I do that before I make the quote. So I put in all of the expenses, possible expenses, estimates for a certain project. And then based on that, I would make a quote for the client. And once it's approved, we have a meeting and then we talk about the budget, then we make adjustments. And then after that, that's when we start the work. Now, many things can happen throughout the filmmaking process. So sometimes you cannot really help it, no, but there are many things that can happen that will affect the budget that you've set. So it's very important to have wiggle room in your budget when you're creating a budget. So that means you will be able to adjust if there's a need for you to do so. And you also need to factor in miscellaneous expenses. So you put all of that into your budget. Now, the danger happens when you do not give your production enough wiggle room to accommodate adjustments. So that's when finances you might start having problems with financials, no, for your film. So it's very important to make a solid film budget and to really try your best to stick to that budget. Okay, so the next activities, no, that I will be sharing, there are, they don't necessarily need to happen in order, because there will be different teams that will handle these activities, so they can be done simultaneously, except for probably some activities wherein you need to wait for or other activities that have prerequisites, no. So let's start with location scouting. So location scouting is part of the pre-production phase. So location scouting is finding locations that are usable and suitable for production. So the tasks in location scouting would include photographing sites, asking for permissions to use a certain location, applying for permits, etc. So basically, it's everything that has anything to do with a location. You can start by searching the internet for possible locations, and then you can proceed to visiting these sites, no, just to check if everything fits your specs. Now, many film departments are sometimes required to join location scouting or ocular inspections. Example, the production design department will need to check out the location to see if it will work, or to check the amount of work needed to construct or to create alterations, no, that the location needs. It is also ideal for um, the sound recordist or the sound department to join the location scouting or the ocular inspection in order for them to know the sounds in the area, especially when live sound will be recorded or when dialogues will be recorded on set. So when they go to the locations and they find out the environment, no, or they find out the if the area is noisy or if it's beside a main thoroughfare wherein a lot of vehicles pass by, they will be able to select the equipment that will work in that kind of environment, because you are recording dialogues. So if your area is noisy, there's a chance that you will have a hard time recording clean dialogue. So the sound department, the sound team, would need to prepare for that. Or that can even be a factor that can lead to the change in location. So if the sound department would say that it's really impossible to be able to record good audio in this location, then the the production can decide to move to a different location wherein the recording of live sound can be where the recording of live sound is more suitable. So that's location scouting. Now, next we have casting. So you find your actors, you hold auditions, you find your talent. So this is you also do that during your pre-production phase. Okay, so um, before you um, sometimes you don't need to hold auditions because you probably already have like a set um, of talents now that you have in mind. Or during auditions, also you can call in talent agencies to bring in their their talents, and then they can just go to your audition and bring their talents there. Okay. Now, the pre-production phase is also the time when the team or the producer looks for people who will work for the project. So for filmmaking or cinema, teamwork is very important. So since filmmaking is a monumental endeavor, many people are needed to make things happen. So before you can start shooting, you need to find the best people to work on your film. So some team members are masters in specific genres. So depending on the treatment or your film style, you need to choose people who are able to execute your film project according to the style that you want to achieve. So here's a quote from Orson Welles. So he said that a writer needs a pen, an artist needs a brush, a filmmaker needs an army. And it's really true because of the amount of people that's needed to work on a film. No, I'm talking about large size productions, but you know, your team can be small or it can be big. Now, it depends on two things: the type of project that you will do, and the budget that you have for your film. So, the bigger crew on set, the production runs smoother and faster. But of course, naturally, when you have a big crew on set, that only means that you need a bigger budget to be able to pay all of these people, to compensate all of these people properly. But the work will be more efficient when you have more people on set. So if you have a big budget for your film, then it's only natural for you to hire a lot of people, be very specific with their roles. But if you are producing on a tight budget, then many crew members will be what we call slashers here, no? So they can be gaffer slash grip or PD slash director. It depends. So budget has a big role in determining the size of your crew. So let's go over really fast, no, the departments in film. So first, you have your key creative team. So these are the leads. These are the people who will lead the whole team. So first, you have your producer. So the producer is the head of the whole production, the entire production. So the producer is there from the very beginning until the very end of the project. So the producer has a lot of work to do. She looks for people to work on the film. She supervises. Well, she will have many people also under her or under them, but they will supervise everything. So a lot of decisions would need to come from the producer, and the producer is involved in all the phases of filmmaking. So basically, the producer is the person who holds the team together. And that is why the recognition for best films when in awards are usually given to the producer. And that's why you have a different award for the best director. because when a film is successful in all aspects, it means that the producer should get the credit, because probably the producer did a good job in putting together a great team and in leading the whole team, no, towards success. So that's your producer, and then of course you have the director. So the director is the head for the creatives in the film. So the director's vision is the vision that everybody will follow. So the actors, the DOP, um, the crew, they would all need to follow what the director is set to do. The people in post production. So um, the director, when they're given a script, most of the time they would read through it, and they would edit the script or add like a treatment um, to the script, no, that's based on their vision. So then the film becomes the director's film. And then you have your screenwriter. So the screenwriter is the person who wrote the story. So the screenwriter also needs to be present from start to finish, because the screenwriter would need to, the screenwriting process is actually a continuous process. So um, the screenwriting doesn't stop once the script is approved. The script can continue to be edited as the production goes. So a lot of things can change while you are shooting something, and even in post production, um, there can there might still be changes in the script, even in post. So scenes might be omitted during the post production um, phase, or things might be added even in the post production phase. So, and your screenwriter needs to be there throughout the whole process. Next department, you have the production department. So you have your executive producer, who is the investor. So the executive producer is the one with the monies who will fund the project. And then you have your line producer. The line producer is the person who manages the budget for the production. Then you have production managers to supervise activities, logistics, personnel, equipment. So you have production managers to take care of all of that. You have coordinators. Before the pandemic, I was part of an international series that was shooting here in Cebu. The title of the series is Almost Paradise. And I was part of the production design team as local coordinator. So a production coordinator, similar to siya sa ako ang work for that production. So since the team is the production design team, a majority of them are not from Cebu. The producers are not from Cebu. So they need somebody who is a local to help them with looking for things, booking, transport, etc. So that's what a production coordinator does. And then still in the production department, you have first, second, third ADs, or first, second, third assistant directors. So why does a director need a lot of assistants? Mostly in regular productions, the director would have like one AD. Now, in shooting a film, half the time the director, or most of the time, the director is not the person who goes to the actors to talk to them about how they're playing their roles, no? Unless it's something that's very important, or it depends on the director actually. But the first AD's job is to communicate from the director to the actors the things that they need to do or the adjustments that they need to make. So that's what the first AD usually does. And the first AD or the ADs would also manage the cast and the crew on set. They create the call sheets. They make sure that everybody is on time. And they make sure that all of the details for the shoot are followed through or are there. So, and there are also the people who will troubleshoot the script. I mean the schedule if there's a need. So sometimes for a big production, you need more ADs. But if it's just a small production, then you can have one AD for the director. So because the director will need to concentrate on looking at what's happening on the frame through a monitor. So the AD needs to be closer to the actors. So that's why it's more efficient for a production to have an assistant director. And then next you have production assistants, accountants, secretaries, post-production supervisors, script supervisors. So the script supervisors would be the ones responsible for the continuity of a script. So when you're shooting, they would need to follow the script and make sure that everything will be consistent. So if they used a prop na kanang that was on the left hand for this scene, and then in the next scene they would need to be very alert to check that that detail will be maintained all throughout a sequence. So that's what a script supervisor does. Also, they need to they also follow the dialogues. So they check if the actors are saying the right things now that they need to say. So basically, that's what a script supervisor does. And then you have your locations department. So you have a location manager. That manager has assistants, and then you have location scouts. So they go to locations, look for locations, apply for permits for locations. And then you have your camera department. So you have your cinematographer or the director of photography. So the cinematographer leads the camera and the lighting department. They make decisions in terms of lighting, framing, the shots, the angles. But of course, that is they work closely with the director. So if the director says that this is the director sometimes says that this is my vision. How should you execute it? And so the cinematographer would think, in terms of light, in terms of camera movement, in order for the film to translate what the director would like to tell. And then under the camera department, you also have your camera operator. So what is the difference between a cinematographer and a camera operator? Now, just like the director with the AD, the camera operator is basically just the person who operates the camera or the person who carries the camera, because the cinematographer would be concentrating on the look within the frame. So the cinematographer will concentrate on the light, the colors, and all of those things. And so if the production can, the cinematographer will have somebody else who will be carrying the camera and operating the camera. And the cinematographer also has ACs or assistants. So But the ACs, or the assistant camera, they have different roles. So for the first AC, if you are using cinema cameras, most of the time, this camera would have a separate focus spooler, so that device will help you keep track of your subject. And the first AC will need to operate the focus spooler to make sure that the focus of the camera is maintained on the subject while the subject is moving around. And then the second AC is usually the guy or the person that you see with the clapper. Kanang before mo take ang scene. That's the second assistant camera, or the second AC. Sometimes also the second AC takes care of the equipment of the cinematographer. So they do inventory of the lenses and the camera. They keep the camera after shoot, etc. And then you can have also DITs, or data wranglers. So they are the people who transfer files from camera to storage. So I attended a talk before, and it was an AFIS talk, Asian film something, I forgot. But there was a producer who produces for Netflix, and he was sharing with us the requirements of Netflix, when it comes to file size. So they need all the raw shots. Of course, everything has to be 4K, I think, or some. But it has to be like really high definition, high res. So that means that's a lot of files, or those are really, really big files, no? And it would be a very it's a very high risk, to lose all of these data. So when you have a data wrangler or a data imaging technician on set, that would take care of transferring files from the camera to your computer or to a storage, and organizing everything, labeling everything, separating the audio from the video. So when you have this person, it's very easy for everything, for everybody, and your files, at least you are sure, that your files, somebody is doing backup for your files, somebody is reformatting cards, just to make sure, and somebody is there to make sure that the files were already uploaded and organized before the cards get reformatted. In our experience, I think a few times we've encountered experiences like this, wherein a card was reformatted, and then wala pa di ay na upload or na backup ang file. We were just lucky that the files inside that card were easy to reshoot. But if you can only imagine, kanang very critical scenes, scenes that are very expensive to reshoot, and then you lose that because nobody is there to look out for your files. That would be that would make a very big dent on your budget. So it's always good to have somebody who will take care of those things. But all of these roles, right now what we're doing is we are going over the different departments and the different roles in filmmaking. Now, it really depends on the need of your film, and it depends on the size of your production. No, you don't really need to have all of these people. So Okay, so next you have the lighting and electrical department. So this department is still under the cinematographer. So you have your gaffer. So your gaffer is the head in the head of the electrical department, and the gaffer is responsible in executing the light plan of the cinematographer. So the cinematographer, based on what the director tells him, based on the director's vision, will create a light plan. So where does a certain light um, go? What diffuser should we put? Is the light going to be soft or hard? So once the cinematographer or the DOP has already set that, the gaffer will then execute that light plan. And the gaffer will be assisted by his best boys. And there's also a lighting technician that will help set and control the lights. Now, the grip department, you have the key grip who will lead the department, and what they're responsible for is the rigging. So when you are um, doing films, a lot of times you need to rig lights, especially when you are shooting inside a studio. So you put up lights in the ceiling, put up big diffusers or butterfly frames, no? So you need to have people to make sure that these things will not fall, or these things will not break, no? So that's what the grips do. And they also have best boys. So you have grips. And then sometimes if you have like dolly tracks, you have a dolly grip. So here's a photo of a set. So if you can, the white frames, no, surrounding this area in the center, these are all diffusers, and you also have a large diffuser here overhead, and you have lights that are suspended from the ceiling. So the gaffer, this is the plan of the DOP. And so the gaffer executes this. He does the electrical wirings and everything. And the grip would install the diffusers. And the grip would also make sure that the suspension of the lights, no, is secure. Make sure that nothing topples over or falls over into the monitor here on the side. So that's the work of those teams. So if you imagine, what if they're not, or they don't show teamwork, or what if they don't work well together, kaning imuhang gaffer o imong grip. So there's a very big chance, no, if they don't do their jobs well, or if they don't communicate with each other well, there's a very big chance that something can happen to your setup or to your production. So that would be another risk that you have to watch out for. And then you have the sound department also. So you have your sound mixer, boom operator for when you need to record live sound. And then you have your art department. So the art department is headed by the production designer. And then you have art directors, set decorators, props masters. You have buyers and purchasers, armory, construction, greensman. So I got my first experience being in the production design department katong when we worked on Almost Paradise before the pandemic. So we were part of the production design team, and that was the first time for me to really see how a legitimate production design company works, no? So there's almost 100 of us in the art department, in the production design department. Now, one of the most interesting things that I learned when I worked in the art department is how, set decorators and sets and props are two different things. So before, we would call everything props, everything needed in the art department as props. Because wala lang, that's what we knew. But when I worked with Big Bulb, I learned that, you know, you call the set dressers and the props team are two different teams, and they do two different works, or they do separate works, no? So the set dressers or the set decorators takes care of the world within that scene. So how the set would look like, that's what they do. That's what they make. And the props team, when you say props, it's actually all of the things that's attached to a character. So if a character would pick up a rock, that rock that the character will pick up is the responsibility of the props team. If there's a bomb that needs to go off and a character at some point would carry that bomb, then it's the props team who will have to create the bomb. Um, and the sets, you know, they take care of the set. So if you have a studio wherein you need to create a room, so all of the details in that set will be taken care of by the set decorators. But the props, like the bags, papers, or money that a character has to hold or to carry, everything that's attached to a character, everything that a character has to hold, no, it's the responsibility of the props team. So they also have, like, for action films, it's very important to have an armory. So the armory will take care of all of the blades and the guns. No, if you remember, last month, um, there was an accident that happened on set, wherein a prop gun killed a cinematographer, because it was fired by the actor, and the actor didn't know that it was actually loaded with live bullets. So it killed somebody on set. Now, if you have an armory, the armory will make sure that these things don't happen, that there are no live bullets, or that, you know, the the guns or the weapons that they're using is not something that can cause fatality to others. So that's the importance of an armory in the art department. So apparently also, a landscaper part of the art dep is called a greensman. So I also just learned about that. So you also have your hair and makeup department. The prosthetics can be part of this department. You have your wardrobe department, which is being led by the costume designer. So you have stylists, buyers, purchasers, tailors in that department. And then you have your post-production department. So for post-production, you have editors, colorists. If your film requires VFX, you have your VFX supervisor, and you have a VFX team. So, and then post production sound, you have sound engineers, Foley artists, sound editors, composers, etc. So these are Foley artists. So if you don't know, Foley is sound in film that's created in the studio. So footsteps, mga punching sounds. So of course you don't really get to record very convincing sounds on set as you're shooting. So sometimes productions would hire Foley artists to create or to recreate these sounds in a studio. So that's what Foley artists do. And then you have other roles, casting directors, drivers, caterers, etc. Okay, so we're still in the pre-production phase, ha? So, kato, you finally determined the people that you want to work with in the film. So that's your crew. That's the departments that you will need in your film. Now, in the pre-production phase, you also start to build your sets. So this is an example of a set that was built. So this is the interior of a yacht. So sometimes instead of booking actual locations, sets can be built because it's easier for people to move around in sets, or if they can't really find a location that fits the specifics of the director or the story, so sets will be built instead of looking for actual locations. And then you need to choose your equipment. You need to choose your gear. You need to choose your camera. You need to book rental for your lights, and whatever equipment that you need. No, or this is the time for you to buy a camera. If there's a certain camera that you need and your budget allows for it, then you can purchase equipment. And then before finally proceeding to the production phase, you need to finalize your shoot schedule. So you need to create a shoot schedule that's based on the needs of the production, the availability of locations, talents, crews, and of course, you need to consider also project timing. So if you need the material to be done by a certain date, so you need to schedule your production and your post production, no, in order in a way that you will be able to meet your deadline. So there, of course, calamities, force majeures can really affect your schedules. So it's either it will push back your shoot. It's very important for you for productions to be very aware about weather, because it can really it can affect your shoot day. So like if you're supposed to be shooting exterior shots, and then all of a sudden it rains, so of course you will not be able to do your shoot because it's raining. Okay, now before you start production, you need to double, triple, quadruple check all of your preparations for a worry-free production. Okay, so next, let's move on to production. Now, basically, the pre-production, it's not necessarily a long process, but I think I just talked about a lot of things because this is your preparation. So it is expected that, a lot of things would need to be prepared for you to have a smooth sailing production phase. So in the production phase, okay. So when I teach the production phase, no, I usually call the topic cinema is a picture. So here's a quote by director Claire Denis. So she said, "Filmmaking to me is very similar to being in a cafe somewhere in Paris, looking at people walking by." So the production phase is basically executing everything that you planned. So for the production discussion, I would like to talk about things, no, that you find on set, things that help you create that picture. So first, let's talk about mise en scène. So mise en scène is a French term which means placing on screen. So everything, every element that you see in a frame, or within a frame, no, in a screen, that is part of a mise en scène, and it's a result of a collaboration of many different people who are working on set. Okay, now what are these things, no, that's part of a mise en scène? So you have a mise en scène or a mise en scene, something. So you have the performances of the actors. Of course, you have the lighting, hair and makeup, costumes, production design, the location. So basically, these are all the things that you see when you see a frame, when you're looking or when you're watching a movie. So um, the combination of all of these things, no, this creates your mise en scène. Okay, so that's that. And then cinematography. So cinematography, it sets the mood and it supports the visual narrative of your film. So what are the things, no, or what are the elements that are part of cinematography? So first you have composition and framing. I will just talk about some of the elements that are part of cinematography. So you have composition and framing. So it's the arrangement of visual elements that will help you convey an intended message, no, in your film. And then you have colors. So certain colors, they elicit certain emotions. And color, they said that color simplifies complex stories. But also for me, at the same time, it can be the opposite. It can add complexity to simple narratives. But color is a very important part of storytelling. Now, here's an example of how color is used, no, in a film. So these are screen caps from Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. So a film from 2004. So in the film, the color of Clementine's hair. So Clementine is the main female character. So the color of her hair changes as the relationship between Joel and Clementine progresses. So as Clementine's attitude towards Joel changes, her hair color also changes. Um, and it's not only that, the purpose of the hair color is not only that, but this also helps the audience actually remember certain moments in the film. So medyo the film has a lot, goes back and forth a lot. It goes back and forth through time. So the hair color will help the audience immediately remember, oh, her hair color is green, so this is probably the time when they were happier, etc., etc. So that's how color was used, no, in the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And then here's another example. So this is a film from 2002 entitled Hero. So for Hero, there are 5 dominant colors all throughout the film. And each color represented a different character. And as the film goes on, and as the narratives would change, the colors would change. This helps the audience. This gives the audience the cue that the narrative is about to change when they see a change in color. So I really like this film. The way they used color in this film is really beautiful. tanawa ra gud niyo this red, the red part. This is very aesthetic. So that's how color is used, no? And then next element, we have lighting. So cinematic lighting adds drama, depth, and atmosphere in the story. So here you see a scene from the film Exorcist. So if you don't have if the production didn't apply all the dramatic lighting that you see in this scene, it would be a very dull, unimpactful scene. But because of the way the light was used, or the lighting was executed, they were able to really create a very eerie atmosphere. And you have volumetric lighting here, coming from the lamppost and the window, that not only illuminates the man, no, here by the gate, or the exorcist, but it also creates leading lines towards the window of the room that he has to go to. So it adds so much drama to the arrival of the exorcist in the house. So that's how lighting can um, create very cinematic scenes, no, and it really adds a lot of impact to certain scenes. And then you have camera angles and movement. So this another. These are elements still of cinematography. So when you combine different types of shots, angles, and camera movements, the filmmakers are able to emphasize specific emotions, ideas, and movement for each scenes. So camera angles, shots, and movements. What's the difference? So angles, they're used to specify the location where the camera is placed to take a shot. So the position of the camera in relation to the subject can affect the way the audience looks at the scene. So example, when you have a high angle camera, or when you have you're shooting from a low angle, this can portray superiority or inferiority. When you have Dutch angles, when you use Dutch angles, it can disorient the audience. So it really adds to the the mood or the emotions that you want your viewers to feel, no, or it adds to how you want your viewers to look at a certain character. So for example, if you shoot at a low angle and you're looking up at a certain character, it would put that character in a position wherein he looks superior. Um, how do they call it? God's, no, not God's view, but like it puts the character mura siya godlike na level because you're looking up at the character. So that's an example. Then you have your shots. So when you say shots, these are your wide shots, extreme close up, ultra wide, medium shots, um, um, yes, extreme close ups, yes. So those are the different kinds of shots. Now, this would tell you the proximity of your of the character. So if the character is shown in a wide shot, so immediately the audience will feel that, okay, that the character is far away. Or if you show characters, or if you do like extreme close-up shots, it gives you the feeling of intimacy with a certain character because of the closeness of the shot. And then you have camera movements. So camera movements used to modify the relationship between the subject and the camera frame with a goal of altering viewers' perspective of space and time. So camera movements can be mo ni siya ang mga tilting, panning, um, what else? Dolly shots, you have your dolly zoom, tracking shots, static shots. So it helps the audience feel the space. Sometimes whips, like camera whips, would bring you from one moment to another. So you feel, a change, not only of perspective but also of time. And then when you are tracking a character, especially if the character is running and you have a camera that's tracking them, it also helps you feel the impact of speed or moving fast. So imagine if somebody is running and you're only like doing static shots of that scene. It will not really give you that feeling of that rush, that the character is feeling. So those are the elements of cinematography. And cinematography and your mise en scène are things now that play a very big role in the production phase of um, film. And then, wait lang. We are finally at the post-production. I'll go very fast with this one because uh, we're running out of time. By the way, Trisha or Lawrence, can you just let me know because I cannot find the chat box. I don't know where it went. If you're saying something, I might not be able to read it. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's go. Real yes.
None, so it's okay, miss. You can keep going. Anyway, it's already the post production.
Yeah.
So please do
Okay.
take your
So
time.
for the post production phase, so you have it's like a puzzle. So this is the part where you put everything together. You cannot see the quote here anymore, but you have all of the elements, or you have all of the puzzle pieces. No, you've already shot your film, so now is the time to put everything together. So you edit your picture and and your sound. So this is where all your audiovisual elements are put together to create a cohesive material, your film or your video material. Now, it involves a team, of course. I think some of these roles we already mentioned earlier. So you have, of course, your editors, sound engineers, Foley artists. If you need VO, voiceover talents, they come in during the post-production phase. Animators, colorists, musicians, etc. And then what are the tasks? So the things that happen during the post production stage, you have the cut to cut editing, assembly of footages. This is where you add your music, your dialogue. This is where you do ADR or automated dialogue replacement if you need to replace your audio, your dialogue, VFX, etc. So let's go over stages, the stages of post production. Um, this is very important to actually know like what should happen first and what should be the last thing that you need to do, because we've experienced it a lot, no, with clients. They want color graded first drafts, but we always try to explain that color grading has to be at the end, because because there are certain stages that you need to follow when you are doing post production. Otherwise, if you do not really follow the stages, your editing or your post production will be very chaotic, or it will double. It will You will not be very efficient when it comes to working on the post, no, on your post. So first, of course, you need to picture edit. So this is where you put together all of the um, all of your videos, and then you put placeholders if there are missing parts, and then you do this with a director until you reach a picture lock. So when you say picture lock, that means that that arrangement of scenes, or that arrangement of the picture is already the final arrangement, and that the director already said that, okay, this is the picture lock. We don't need to move around any of the videos anymore. This is it. So you have to do a picture lock in the stage ones. Um, you have to come to that point wherein you've already agreed that this is it. This is the picture lock. So why do you need to do a picture lock? It's because the next stages will be that we will go through are um, dependent on the what do you call this one? Dependent on the sequence of the film. So if you don't do picture lock, it means na if you will add sound when you go to the sound editing stage, no, then and then somebody will say, or like the director will say, or the client will say, na, oh, can we take out this frame or this scene, or can we, exchange scene 1 and scene 8? So then you have to move your visuals. And if you've already done sound editing for that, that means that you have to do your sound editing again. So um, it's very important that at the first stage, you've already reached a picture lock. If you haven't reached picture lock yet, then it's not always advisable to move on to the next stages. So the next stage, once you have your picture lock, you need to add your sound. So you can put in your dialogue tracks, because it will be easier now since you already have a picture lock. And then you can adjust the audio gain of your dialogues, clean tracks. If you need to do automated dialogue replacement, you can do it now. You can also add Foley, because at least now the timing is already right. It's already set because, it's already picture locked. So, and the scenes are already set. So then you can add your Foley. And then you can also do your musical scoring. Or you can add royalty-free music. It depends on your budget. And then when you've added all of those sound elements, you can go ahead to stage 4, wherein you do sound mixing and sound engineering. So the sound mixer, the sound engineer will then mix the different layers of your sound to make sure that all the elements have their moment. It depends on what a particular scene would need. And they also take out all of the things that are not necessary in terms of sound. And then after you've done your sound engineering, you can move on to visual effects. So you add VFX on the parts wherein VFX is needed. So this is where you add the world that's created through VFX or CGI. Enhancements can be done in this stage. And then once you already have all of those things, you can now you can finally start coloring your 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 film. Now, what do you do when you color your film? There are two very important things that you need to do in color grading. First, you need to do color correction, and then you can proceed to color grading. Now, color correction and color grading are two very different things, no? So, see, color correction, this is the part where you adjust the blacks and the white levels of your frame. Um, ISOs, skin tone. You need to match all of the skin tone across all frames, depending on the lighting. Make sure that the base elements in terms of colors are all consistent and that they all match. So you need to do all of that before you add tones or before you color grade your film. Before you add, let's say, you want a teal and orange on color grading, you need to color correct everything first before you proceed with color grading. Why? Because if you don't match, let's say you don't match all the skin tones across all frames, if you put on color grading without doing color correction, in some frames the color might not be consistent. So you need to color correct before you color grade. And then last but not the least, you create your titles, credits, and your graphics, and you add them to your films. If you have an opening billboard, you add it in the last part. You add it in this stage, or if you have a closing billboard, you add it in this stage also. So that is the end of your filmmaking journey. Now you have a finished film. And I will leave you with this quote by Stanley Kubrick. So Stanley Kubrick is the director of one of his films is A Clockwork Orange. And he said, if it can be written or thought, then it can be filmed. So if you have stories in your head, then you write it. And then who knows, someday you will be able to make it into a film. So, okay, I think that's the end of my talk. Where's the chat box I lost? I'll stop sharing my screen now. Okay, there.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Miss Danielle, for sharing to us, Miss Danielle, the phases of film production. And yes, di yun siya lalim, no? Yes, Ate Trish.
Yes, that was so very informative, Mrs. Daniel. It's like I've just finished the whole course of filmmaking. And also, it's true, Mrs. Daniel, that filmmaking really does have a lot of process. It has a lot of phases. It's not just a click of the mouse, then it's there. And I was also impressed when you showcase the Vincenzo behind the scenes, because I also watched that K drama and I thought that they were actually shooting on in Europe or somewhere in Italy, but I just found out that the rest of most of their setting were actually blue screen or green screen, and then the rest are actually the real thing.
Mhm. Yeah, they just because they shot it during COVID. I think at the height of COVID, so the best option during that time was really to do green screens, because you cannot really fly to Italy to be on location for a shoot. So they were able to really execute that very nicely. So yes, I think Korean cinema is getting really big and getting really good nowadays.
aside from our personal insights, we also have here a few questions from the comments. Actually, we have a lot of them, but because we're running out of time, we are going to choose here some questions from our YouTube comment section. So the first question, Mrs. Daniel, curious ko, unsaon pag-produce og film profits aning mga films nga dili kaayo dako ang production? Apil aning mga independent films.
Wait lang. I didn't really get the question. How do you produce? Wait, I'll check the.
Unsaon pag-produce og profits aning mga films nga dili
Profit.
kaayo kadako? Yes. Dili
Profit.
kay kadako, and also the independent films. How do they profit?
Actually, to tell you honestly, if we're talking about film, we attended a talk with Allenberg Ang. He's also a producer, and his advice to filmmakers really is to find a day job, because if you are making films, no, especially when you don't have a big production company, or you don't have like a mainstream production to back you up, it's really very hard to create profit. And it's for us in eight thumbs, we concentrate more on AVPs and videos. We don't really shoot films, although the people who are part of the group are all filmmakers and they do their own films, no, and we help them out. But even for us as a production company, we have been doing this for years, but I will be honest, we are not really making profit. I mean, we do have a little, low percentage for profit, but it's also because of how our business model is. We're not very business driven. We are more focusing on giving our crew justifiable pay. So that's really, and the Cebu market is not really that ready to accept big the businesses here are not ready to do like big budget, to give out big budgets for projects. So for us, a lot of companies would consider our prices high, but it's high because we're also paying our people enough, and we're that's really our driving principles. We want to be able to give our crew rates that would be rewarding for them, no? Because the work is not easy, so we need to compensate them properly. And so we have already accepted the fact that we are not a profitable business. But when it comes to films, especially if it's an independent film, it's really, I think that it's very hard for filmmakers to gain profit unless you get absorbed by a mainstream production company that will market your film and will help you find sales for your film. So that's actually another aspect of filmmaking. There's actually this whole branch of sales and distribution that will help put your film out there, and that will help sell your film. Like, say, for example, if you want Netflix to get your film and to put it on Netflix, then you can you can actually do that. But that would be a very rigorous process. So right now, I think a way for independent filmmakers to earn some profit, no, or at least get some amount back is actually to market their films to VOD platforms. So when you say VOD platforms, so kind of mga Netflix, mga View, and it's good that these platforms are increasing now. So daghan nag options where you can submit your films. But mao na siya, the specs are very high. Um, they and the selection process is also very rigorous. So but that is one option. So it's not saying that ayaw na lang mo try because kapoy siya, but actually go and try. Kay that's one of the ways that you can earn um, from your film. And if you learn about the selection process, and so you learn about unsa man ang films that would make it, or what are the kind of films that they would choose, then that could hopefully drive you to create films that are of that level, or that would help you, that would help motivate you to create better films, diba?
Yes. All right. Yes, that's true, Miss Danielle. Thank you so much for sharing us, especially those who really aspire to have the funds, enough funds for their project. And for this one, Mrs. Danielle, I would just like to pitch in this question because, of course, this is one of your field. So, we have here, it's anonymous. So for this one, okay. For those who wants to be a film producer, what can you advise for us nga nag-start pa nga nag-achieve sa among dreams, Miss Danielle?
Okay, for film, those who want to be a film producer, it's very important that you have project management skills. So I think that's one of the reasons why I was able to really ease into um, the job of a producer. It's because I have experience in organizing events. I've attended seminars in project management before, because when you're a producer, part of your work is really to set schedules, talk to people. You have to um, organize shoots, and you need to really be on your feet, on your toes all the time. You need to be very fast whenever there are changes that need to be done, and you need to be very fast with your decision making. And by learning project management, by learning how to organize events, whether it's small or big, or all of those things have actually helped me um, work as a producer. Um, it's not so much about knowing about the technicalities of film, but I think a very good characteristic of a producer would also be to know, or to be um, good in choosing people. Because even if you have all of those technical things, no, that you need to be involved with when you are doing filmmaking, or when you're creating videos, if you're able to choose the right people to work on your team as a producer, then you have those people to make the judgment for you. And it's very important for you to trust the people that you choose, because if you don't trust your people, or if you don't trust your team that they will be able to do the project properly to work, then that's something that would lead you to become a micromanager, or that would lead you to micromanage your team. So that's something that's not really very good when you are trying to move your team forward. So as a producer, I think the very important trait that you should have is that you should have leadership skills, actually, and production management skills, and people skills. So you need to work on that in order for you to become a good producer. And then everything else you can learn along the way. So as you are experiencing projects, as you start working on projects, you can start learning about the other aspects of filmmaking, the technical aspects of filmmaking, because you're gonna get to you will be exposed to all of these things in time with the projects coming in. So you have a lot of opportunity to learn about the technical things now, and you can expand your skill set once you're already there. Okay.
All right. Thank you for that honest answer, Mrs. Daniel. Thank you for not sugarcoating things, but for actually telling us the truth and the reality behind filmmaking. Because it's also not an easy career for many people.
Yes.
It's a huge risk. It's actually a respected profession because in the end, filmmaking is really not easy, and it's the process behind it that matters actually.
Yes,
Yeah.
Ate
And we
Trish.
also take back with a quote, Mrs. Daniel. I actually took note of this. A writer needs a pen, an artist needs a brush, and a filmmaker needs an army.
Yes. Yes, and one thing I got also from Mrs. Daniel at Trish, that choosing the right people in the production, and that's very important. And with those things that Mrs. Daniel discussed on the roles and responsibilities on each of the production, it's very crucial, and it's very beautiful to reckon with. Yes.
Yes. I just would like to add lang, no.
Yes, Miss
Do not
Daniel.
be afraid, actually, to don't be afraid to start your filmmaking journey. You just need to be wise about things, no? Like for us in Eight Thumbs, we're all doing other jobs. So like our basket, we're not concentrating on just Eight Thumbs, because we know that we want to keep doing this. And the only way for us to keep doing this is for us to live. The only way for us to live is to find, another job that can help support us. So don't, just because I said that it's not, you can't really earn profit or whatever from it, it doesn't mean that you cannot, don't pursue it anymore. You can find other ways. You can find another job, and then on the side you can pursue your films. Like my husband, who is also part of Eight Thumbs, he's working because he wants to finally make another film. So he's saving up for that, because if you really want to make something, you cannot rely on others to give you money to make your film. You can apply for grants. There are so many grants out there for those who want to make films. FDCP is actually giving out a lot of grants for aspiring filmmakers. And you can apply for that, but that's just a very small portion of the budget that you will need for your film. So you need to find other ways in order for you to be able to create or to make your film. Or you can go ahead and just make a film with what you have. I mean, that's how Keith Delihero started. That's how Ramton started. That's how a lot of our local filmmakers started. I think the very important thing here is that you need to start somewhere. You don't, just because I'm saying all of these things that are very intimidating, it doesn't mean that di na lang mo. You need to take that first step, and create something with what you have, and then slowly build your portfolio and slowly work towards your bigger goals. And I think that's really the most important part of filmmaking. You don't stop film making your films. You don't stop telling stories. You have to continue telling your stories through films.
And as much as we want to cater more questions from our viewers, it's too bad because it's already time to give our token of appreciation to Mrs. Daniel. So can we ask our Zoom participants to open their cams and let's see.
Yes, let's see your fresh faces
Oh,
at this
before
very
that,
hour.
before that, can we have an e-certificate given?
Yes. Okay, so now's the time that we can have give our token of appreciation to Mrs. Daniel for being the speaker of our afternoon's event at CINE U. So yes, so we have here. Okay, so let me just read the citation. So certificate of appreciation is presented to Mrs. Daniel Abalia de los Reyes for sharing his or her valuable insights and expertise during the webinar series titled The Real Behind the Real: Hows and Whys of Basic Filmmaking on November 25 to 27, 2021. Given this 26th day of November 2021, signed, we have here. Yes, we will. Okay, so we have here as well Christian Lloyd Gabito. We have Mr. Kyle Paez, MA. We also have Dr. Joseph Elvir Tubilan, and we have our CINE Mayor, Miss Jane Noreen Roa. So yes, thank you so much, Mrs. Danielle.
And we
Thank
have a
you.
lot more reactions, Mrs. Daniel, on our official YouTube channel, the Cine U. So you can see there how much the viewers are very interactive and participative during your talk. So also to our viewers, we also hope that you continue to visit the channel and watch our live stream for tomorrow.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you also, Mrs. Daniel, for
Thank you
this
so much,
very
Mrs.
informative,
Daniel.
real talk.
Yes, and I think Ate Trish, our dear Zoom participants are smiling already and
Yes,
opening their
now they're
cams.
ready. Oh,
So yes, let's have our photo opportunity with Mrs. Daniel over here. So everyone, and also to our live viewers are also smiling right now. Pwede rin dyan tayo mo smile dira, ano? You can wear your biggest smile there over. Okay? So yes, we'll take the picture.
look out, Kuya Lawrence.
Okay. So, okay, I'll count. Who'll take the picture? Can you take Ate Trish?
The tech team will do that.
Okay. So ready?
Okay, great.
3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3, smile.
All
Yay.
right. So now we're done with our photo op shoot with Mrs. Daniel. Once again, everybody, give her a virtual round of applause for her talk. Thank you so much, Mrs. Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Second time around.
Yay. All right. So to wrap up this afternoon's insightful session, that was indeed a wonderful webinar we have. So it's like a gold rush, right? Now that we're nearing to the end of our program, I feel happy, free, confused, and lonely at the same time. Like we're never getting back together again in this very event. Nevertheless, the whole day was worthwhile when we got to hear those tips, advice, and inspiring stories from amazing filmmakers who are actually walking their talk, right, Kuya Lau?
Yes, Ate Trish. And I think Ate Trish, the quote really, which I heard from many people, that teamwork makes a dream work. Char.
Char.
Yes. And also Ate Trish, this would not be possible as well without our sponsors and partners who have been part of our program. So to our dearest partners over here, thank you so much for Alicat Studio, Cinemata, Binisaya, Junior Broadcasters Alliance, Sinuwat. And
And of
to our
course, to our
sponsors,
sponsors, Cebu STV and Michael Cava Styling.
yes. And Ate Trish, with all that being said, we have finally reached the end of our program. And I think this has been a fruitful and insightful day for us. And this would really add another heart or another gold within our week with production. I can see Mrs. Daniel having her visitors from Korea.
So thank you so much, everyone, to Mrs. Daniel, our Cine-mates, to our sponsors and working committees. We are so grateful to everyone who stayed with us till the very end of the program. This day
Yes.
wouldn't be possible if it weren't for your participation. Once again, this has been Trisha Dominic Verzosa, the newest face and the one and only Chinita host of the town.
And this has been Kuya Lau, Lawrence Pareha, your bibog watpitong magsisibya og mga storya. And dear Cinemates, please do not forget to stay tuned for our last day of our webinar series tomorrow, same time, and with another fruitful discussion. Okay, God bless everyone, our dear Cinemates,
God
and
bless. Bye.
kita kits
Thank
tomorrow.
you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Daniel.
Cine U would like to thank the following: Michael Kauba Styling, Cine U in partnership of Alley Cat Studio. Cinemata, Binisaya, Junior Broadcast Alliance, Sinuwat, Anina, Communicators Club, and Cebu STV. Cine U would like to thank the following: Michael Kauba Styling, partnership of Alley Cat Studio. Cine-mata, Binisaya, Junior Broadcast Alliance, Sinuwat, Anina, Communicators Club, and Cebu STV.